silent treatment by a husband, his reasons and his defense. Hi friends, welcome to Marriage Realities, a comprehensive relationship channel. Today's video is all about the silent treatment you as a husband mete out to your wife. Do you know that you literally demoralize your wife by your silence? Yes. You make your wife feel depressed and unsure of your love when you give her the silent treatment. You and your wife emote in different ways to make the other feel muddled up about the status of your love. Usually, your wife uses her tears as a lethal weapon to have things done her way. Your wife makes you confused and keyed up when she cries her heart out at the drop of the hat. When your wife cries, you become a helpless spectator, not knowing how to pacify her. What does my wife want now? Is she crying to make me buy her things she had been asking for? Is my wife unhappy being married to me? Is my wife crying to make me do things I do not like to do? You ask yourself these sorts of questions as you struggle to find the reason behind the tears of your wife. Whatever might be the situation that made your wife cry, you well know that she conveys multiple emotions through her crying. Your wife conveys her anger, her resentment, her bitterness, her sadness through her crying. As a man, you do not cry. You might be feeling depressed or sad about your relationship issues, but your eyes do not fill up with tears. This is the reason why your wife often feels that you are without feelings and hard-hearted. Is it the prerogative of your wife to have crying as a defensive armor to bring you into submission? Do you not have any self-armoring weapon to protect yourself from your wife? Of course you have. Your defense armor is your silence. Your silence is an awesome weapon you use against your wife to convey your anger and resentment against her in no uncertain terms. The silence you display against your wife makes her feel unloved, unnoticed, and uncared by you. And your wife would rather bear your anger than your silence. It is because, as a woman, your wife always wants to talk it out with you. And your silence is something which your wife finds taxing and challenging. What sort of silent treatments do you use to dishearten your wife? When you're angry with your wife, you become silent. When you're resentful about something which your wife did, you become silent. When you're stressed, you become silent. When you do not like what your wife is doing, you become silent. When you're disinterested in your wife, you become silent. When you do not want to be caught in any family issues, you become silent. You literally convert your silence as a powerful weapon to unnerve your wife. When you're tight-lipped with your wife, she feels you have stopped loving her. Your silence literally kills your wife. Your wife could bear your shouting. It at least gives her a chance to give it back to you, word by word. But your silence slays your wife emotionally and psychologically. Your wife wants to know the reasons behind your anger. Your wife wants you to communicate with her about your feelings. Your wife wants you to pacify her when she's emotionally upset. She wants you to emote in words and not through your silence. Unable to bear your silence, your wife often yells at you, doesn't she? But you're not bothered to break your silence. You keep your lips tightly clamped. And it is astonishing how you could spend days without talking with your wife. Naturally, your wife is unable to bear your silence. As a woman, your wife likes to talk openly about her feelings. She cannot keep quiet about her feelings. If your wife is feeling sad, she will tell you the reasons behind her sadness. When your wife is happy, she just has to share her happiness with you. When your wife is angry, she has to yell at you. When your wife feels you're irresponsible, she will follow you around, nagging you about your irresponsibility. Not once will your wife remain silent. But you're not made like your wife. You can keep silent, and there are many reasons behind your silence. The number one reason behind your silence is your feeling of regret. There are times when you're silent because of the hurt you're feeling. When you're angry with your wife, you yell at her with ferocity. You utter harsh words, well knowing that you're hurting your wife. But after spilling out your anger, you suddenly become silent. You feel apprehensive that you had hurt your wife unintentionally. You regret the unwarranted words you spat forth against your wife. Your post-anger period is almost always silence, and your wife is at her wit's end, not knowing how to penetrate into your silence. Silently keep thinking about the ways to come out of the tight situation your fight with your wife has brought about. In your confused state of mind, you become silence personified. The number 2 reason behind your silence is to drive your wife mad. When you want to drive your wife mad, you take your silence as a weapon. Many a time you find the behavior of your wife irritating and annoying. You know that you will get a tongue lashing from your wife if you directly tell her your displeasure at her behavior. So you resort to the silent treatment. Your wife might yell her heart out, but all she gets from you is your sullen silence. Your wife feels that she might as well be talking to a wall for all the reaction you give her. You never utter a word. Your face shows no reaction. If you had shouted back at your wife, she would have at least felt that you had reacted towards her. But your muddled silence makes your wife even more bitter and resentful that you use her when you want her and discard her when you do not need her. The number 3 reason behind your silence is because you take your wife for granted. Often you do not acknowledge the presence of your wife at all. She might as well be a furniture in the house for all the attention you give her. You never notice the relentless contribution your wife makes to make you feel comfortable and relaxed. Your wife cooks painstakingly for you, and you eat your stomach full without uttering a word of appreciation. Your wife looks at your face, longing that you would utter a word of appreciation. But no, you're invariably silent. Your wife looks her best before you, longing for spontaneous words of appreciation from you. But you do not open your mouth, not knowing that your silence is making your wife feel undesirable and unattractive. The number 4 most important reason behind your silence is you want to escape family feud. You often keep silent when your family degrades your wife. Your wife longs for your supporting words, which will make her feel protected by you. But you never utter a word in support of your wife. It is because you do not want to get into the bad books of your parents. And you feel supporting your wife will turn your parents against you. So you do not speak on behalf of your wife, nor do you speak in support of your family. Keep your lips clamped as always. When your silence is accompanied with emotional withdrawal, your wife finds it very difficult to cope up with the situation. Whatever might be the reason behind your silence, the fact remains that your wife does not like it a wee bit. She feels your silence literally kills her happiness and her emotional well-being. Did this video make you understand why your wife hates your silence? Never use your silence as a weapon to demoralize your wife, because your attitude might drive your wife to the edge, turning her into a nagging machine. You do not want it to happen to you, do you? Marriage Realities will have many such relationship eye-openers. Subscribe to my channel to understand your marriage in a new light. Press the bell icon for updates about my latest relationship videos. Make love forever and your death do us part your relationship goal.